Hello, we are live and I'm bringing in Christy. Maybe Christy. Hi, Christy. Are you having any difficulties there? Hi, Christy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
I'm once again having technical difficulties, and I'm sorry. I thought this was just going to be a voice interview, so I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm just on my cell phone, so I
Okay,
can turn on my camera if you want.
yeah, that's fine. If you want to turn on your camera, you can. But this is so the reason where I'm bringing some folks in here, and we are streaming live from Facebook, YouTube, and we are streaming live on LinkedIn. And I'm just gonna flip a switch here. We are also streaming live on Wisdom Audio. So a lot of people are having issues with, how to change their career successfully. I have a visual, and I also have just want to talk about that a little bit, because what happens is that normally we think that we would have a job and we would stay there for, all the time, like 40 years. But what we have realized is that it doesn't happen. And what we have to do, we have to design our own career. So I'm just going to get into the chat here. I'm going to turn the chat on. I have some viewers here, and I think most of them are probably streaming in from LinkedIn. And if you are on the show, if you're streaming in here, I just want you to put a little hashtag in the chat that says live if you're coming in live. And this is going to be on the other streams. So if you're coming in on the replay, you can say replay. But if you're here now and if you're coming in live, I want you to say that you are live. And look at beautiful Christy. She's right there. So we have Christy in here, and Christy is coming in from Columbus, Ohio. I have never been to Columbus, but I hear it's a beautiful place. So I know that we have a person streaming in, coming in from the different channels. Those people are coming in from Facebook. Sometimes I don't see the sometimes I don't get a chance to see who's talking. But if you are on here, just say you're live or where you're coming in from. I have the comments on, and that would be great. So as I said, Christy, very great. Christy started her new job this month, and that was great because 6 months ago it wasn't the same thing, right? Maybe 5 6 months ago
Right,
that wasn't it, right, Christy? So Christy is going
right.
to tell us how she was able to career pivot, new function, and new industry. And as I said before, we cannot sit down and wait for opportunities. Christy did not sit down and wait for opportunities. She was in a job. She didn't like what was going on. We're not going to tell you history of any, companies or anything like that. But she just did not like what was going on. And I always say, you are to leave what doesn't serve you behind, because there's no reason why you have to sit down and take things and take situations. You're in a job, if you're not getting a good salary and you think you're worth more, I believe that you should. I think something happened to Christy's camera, and I think she'll come back in. But if you're in a job, guys, and you are not getting making a good salary, if you're in a job, and I'm gonna bring her back in.
Here,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes, I know the camera and everything. So, sometimes we have technical difficulties. So, listen, guys, if you're in a job and it's not serving you, leave it. If you have a CEO or whatever and you're looking to career pivot, you're going to see how Christy was able to assess her skills and abilities and move on and get a job that is paying her much, much, much more. And she's a happy camper. And apparently, it's a great company because I have not met the people there, but I saw, when she put something up on LinkedIn, all the people in the company who were hailing up and saying nice things about her. And I've seen some comments coming from that company, pretty big company. So, I know she's very happy. And I'm not going to take much longer because Chris is going to tell you a little bit about, I really appreciate that she comes on today. And she's going to tell us a little bit about what happened when before she, reached out to me. Then she's going to tell you also, where she was before, why she decided even to get a coach, and what were her concerns in deciding on getting a coach, because sometimes you have butterflies in your stomach, and what are the practical things that she did in order to career pivot 180? That is I call that pivot 180 because she changed function and she also changed industry. And I see Lily is here. Hi, Lily. Thank you for tuning in, Lily. And she says, yet another amazing success story. So I'm going to stop talking and let beautiful Christy talk right now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So like Yvonne said, I'm here from Columbus, Ohio. I've definitely had a mountain to climb with this sort of dual pivot, if you will, leaving the industry and, coming up with a new role. So it definitely was quite challenging. And, I have a 20-year career in public safety. So I've spent my life in government work, and it's a whole different animal than the civilian world, and especially translating your skills. So my biggest struggle was I knew I could do, the jobs I was applying for. I knew I had the skills and abilities. I just wasn't able to connect the dots to provide, that explanation of what my skills are, as far as in a way that the civilian world can understand it. So all of my skills were listed specific to government work or to public safety work. And so kind of connecting the dots and creating that translation was very challenging for me. And I had applied for multiple positions across a span of 2 to 3 years and was having no success. I was not even getting interviews. And so for me, it was a disappointment because I knew I had the skills. I didn't know what was missing. And I felt like, maybe I'm applying for the wrong type of positions. So I engaged with my, mentors at work and my leadership team, and they, supported that I was on the right track as far as my skills, but weren't sure what the problem was. And so that's when I decided, I think the issue is the way I'm representing myself, the way I'm putting myself out there. It's not getting me noticed. So, I found Yvonne, and it's an investment in yourself and in your career, and it's definitely a big commitment, but it was worth it. It was worth every dollar of money spent and every ounce of time spent, because what Yvonne gave me that I didn't have was the ability to articulate what I can offer to these companies. So for me, it was about, when I talk to companies about a job, it was sort of, will you please give me this, position, and I sort of felt like I was begging or groveling to them. Whereas by the end of working with Yvonne, it was, I'm interviewing you as the employer. What can you offer me? I already know what I can offer you. But what can you offer me so that we're both successful? And communicating in a way with the, with the organization, what I bring to the table, and not just talking about what I can do as far as hard skills, but how those skills actually would apply to the role I'm applying for and to provide success for the organization. So those were a lot of the things that I was missing. And especially, like I say, coming from government, coming from public safety, moving around in that environment is a lot different. Than in the civilian world. So moving around there was very easy because everyone spoke the same language. To get a promotion or a new position or go to a new, government agency was very easy because those skills were very easily translatable and you could represent yourself very easily. But moving those into the civilian world was quite challenging. So for me, it was absolutely valuable to bring Yvonne into the equation, to have her help me translate those into what I do have to offer, bringing up the confidence, bringing up good ways to communicate that are different than what you would interview. Again, interviewing in a public safety realm versus the corporate world is way different. So finding out, how do I ask this question or how do I communicate this to them without sounding, aggressive or condescending or whatever, I felt like maybe my question isn't appropriate, and so for her to help me, and rehearse, so we would rehearse the interview. And that was a lot of fun because you don't know what will come out of your mouth until it comes out of your mouth. And it's really nice to have that person to say, don't say that in the interview, because then it reminds you when you get there, all right, don't say it this way or don't say it at all. Perhaps frame it in a different way, that would help you in the interview. So a lot of valuable tools there to find with Yvonne.
What about the confidence? Because you said you were looking for 3 years, right? So
Yes.
by this time, are you 100% up there, or where are you in your confidence by that time? After
Well,
3 years looking to career change, right?
yeah, and it's funny because when I first started, I was completely confident. I was like, I know I can do stuff. I have experience, I have skills, I have education, I have all these things. And I was completely overconfident, and it just wiped me out. All of the, just no responses from anyone, no interviews, nothing. It was very discouraging. So I did finally get to a point where, the only jobs I could find were entry level, which is insane. I'm just like, I'm way more qualified than these people who are, these roles I'm being offered. And so my confidence was very low. I still knew I could do things, like I knew I had talent and skills. I knew I could offer something of value to someone. I just didn't believe that anyone would ever take my word for it and give me a chance. That was really where my speed bump was not that I didn't believe in myself. I just didn't believe that other people would believe me. And I didn't know how to articulate that confidence in a way that wasn't, arrogant or showy, because, it's like I say, it's a different world. And so, just provide, just providing those ways to represent yourself and to articulate yourself really brought my confidence up to where not only, okay, I do still know that I can do this, but now I believe it, because I think I was still saying the words, but I didn't necessarily believe them at a certain point, because you do feel like at a certain point, well, no one is looking at me, so maybe I'm not worth looking at. And so it was very hard, but definitely, with you, Yvonne, you bring out the best. You really do. You inspire the best, you motivate the best, and you give the best, and you get what you give, right? So you put it out there to me these things, these great things and positive things. And it comes back to me and brings me up to that point. So it was great. It was a great boost in confidence. And it really made it easy too, starting this new role, because then it came to the day before my first day, and it's sort of imposter syndrome sets in. Now, it's like, oh my gosh, do I really know how to do this? I don't know. What did I get myself into? And it's just like, what did Yvonne say? So you just think back on all of those things, all of our conversations, and say, you got this, girl. You got this. Just show up. All you have to do is show up. So, and it's been wonderful. This is my third week, and I love it. The people are amazing. The company is great. The work is so much fun. I love it.
Goodness, I'm so happy for you. So I remember those conversations, right?
Right.
And what would you say about? Okay, so I keep telling people that two of the biggest things, like the pillars of my program or what I teach people, is how to be confident and how to communicate.
Yes.
Because right through the system, from you start out with, and number one, we don't start with resumes. And I tell a lot of people that, and I sometimes I put some things on LinkedIn, I write stuff and I put on LinkedIn content all the time. Sometimes I'm thinking that people are not hearing, because when you're looking for a job, the first thing you work on is not your resume, right? It is probably around the fourth thing you start working on, because there's so much more to peel off and uncover and unravel before you go to resume. Because especially if somebody has been looking for a job for 6 months, when you had a job, but you were looking to pivot for 3 years and you couldn't make it, you couldn't break it, right? I just worked with a lady and she was trying to pivot for 5 years. And she found a job, right? She found a job, and right now her salary is up 84%.
Wow,
so
amazing.
It gets higher and higher. But the issue is the confidence. Your confidence is shattered at the end of 4 years. You're looking for a job, your confidence is shattered, right?
Yes.
And I always tell people you have to base it on that. So give me a little, tell the audience about the resume, what was revealing to you about how a resume is written, because I think a lot of people get their resume done by writers, and a lot of them, because I talked to a lady the other day and she said she thinks she was okay because she just got a resume done, right? But my way of doing resume so that somebody can get their transformation fast and get their job fast, I think it's different from a lot of people, because I've worked in this industry for 15 years. Normally recruiters don't write resumes, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, that recruiters some cannot even write their own resumes, because that's not what they do. When you work for corporate, you're matching people with jobs, you're not writing their resumes. But I'm from out of an agency where we had to write the resumes to submit the people, because we helped them to write the resumes. So when I started in recruiting, I found it was eye-opening to me how resumes were done and how real resumes are done.
Right.
So what did you discover about your resume? How, like how you would present your resume rather than how you were presenting it before?
Of course. It definitely was an eye-opener. And it was one of the things, as I was troubleshooting, why am I not getting interviews? It was one of the top of my list of maybe my resume is wrong or isn't quite correct. And I did discover, so the last time I took any sort of education on resume writing was 2003 when I got out of the military. So that was very dated information. So yeah, it was very different, and I actually enjoy the way resumes are. I'll be honest with you, way back in the day, I used to just copy and paste the job description into my resume of the job I do, because, well, that's what I do, right? And that's what the resume should reflect, what you do. But it really doesn't. it really doesn't reflect what you do for the organization. It reflects who you are with the organization, within the organization, the value that you provide the organization. And those are things that I had never been taught or learned about resumes. Is, the context, action, and result sort of format. So what is the thing? What is the activity or a thing that needed to, or was happening rather? What did I do about it, and what was the result of it? And it seems obvious now, but didn't think of it at the time that actually is a lot more meaningful than, made phone calls to whatever, that's just a task oriented resume versus a really robust, information filled, and thoughtful and meaningful story about what you do, what, your actual activities day to day. And so the resume was a big surprise. And I will tell this to anyone: don't pay someone to write your resume, because if you write your own resume, you get the value of translating who you are onto that piece of paper. You're telling your own story in your own words. And it means so much more when you go into that job interview and they're combing through the words on that paper that you didn't even write. And you're just sort of agreeing because you're like, I guess that's what they put on there. Obviously you're not saying that to them, but that's what you're thinking. I didn't write this, so I guess that's what it says. And you'll never know the true contents of your resume unless they come from your own mind. And it's just another way for you to more clearly and more confidently articulate yourself, present yourself to that company, by doing that work yourself. And Yvonne worked with me. We sorted through, I think the first employer we did together, and then the others I did myself. And she was always there. Hey, Yvonne, I did this. I can't quite figure out how to word it. And she would just get right back to me with any support that I needed. So yeah, it was challenging. But again, it's an investment. Nothing worth having is easy to get, is kind of what I always say about life. And so, yeah, I had to put in the work to get where I am, but it's 110% worth it. Like, no regrets.
You did put in the work, and people work with me, they have to put in the work, because I can't do it for you, right? I can only guide. And
absolutely.
The other thing about you career pivoted, so you obviously you were not right. I always say to people, do not write the resume for the job you have. Write the resume for the job you want.
Yes.
How does that thinking, my saying, translate into how you were able to write your resume for the job you want and career pivoted into project management, from customer care into project management for IT, information technology? I was blown away because I was saying, wow, she did it, tell the listeners, this is going to be on replay. Sometimes don't have a lot of people on, but you can see the replays, because sometimes these shows happen at an odd time. I have the 6 o'clock, which a lot of people are eating, and I'm finding that I'm going to move my show to later, because but people do go back, and I see people rewatching and saying replay. So I know a lot of people are going to watch this. So what would you tell them about, if you want a job and you want a better job than the one you have? Do you write a resume for the work you've been doing? What do you do? Because you were highly successful in finding a job as a project manager in IT.
Definitely, you're absolutely correct, Yvonne, in that you don't write it for what you have, you write it for what you want. Because especially I was in customer support. So sure, I could have written down those mundane things that I do, problems that I solve, but they weren't really applicable to the role that I wanted. So I had to dig a little bit deeper. What are the major things that I do? What's this job I'm trying to get? What do they want me to be able to do? And then turn around and look in my current role and say, what are those things that I do that aren't maybe at the tip of my tongue for writing down, what I do or my experience, but definitely are applicable over here. So you really can sell yourself short. And I definitely discovered that on the resumes topic. When we got to the resume, I really discovered that I was selling myself short because I was describing the job that I have, which was an entry level position, which didn't have, education requirements or experience you just walk in the door, you get the job. So yeah, representing myself essentially as an entry level worker was what I was doing on that resume. And so it really was challenging to say, okay, how do I challenge myself at work? What are the things that are applicable to what I'm looking at? And really transform that resume into representing the skills that new organization is looking for in the role that I'm applying for.
Right. Awesome. So, we're not going to stay very long. This was just going to be about a half an hour. So, what I would like, because I think that is a challenge for everybody I see
Yes.
on LinkedIn and all that. Some people have been looking for a job for like 6 months, and I see people on LinkedIn looking for a job for a year. I know you didn't stay that long, and also about 2 months throughout the period. I mean, like you were not you were ill, right? For about two
Correct.
months of the whole period when we worked
Yes.
together, and you had to take time off. So, but I see people looking for a job for over a year now. I'm here sitting down right here, and I see them looking. Some are trying to career pivot. And I think their issue is that they're looking for the job that they want. If you are looking to career pivot and up level, and you are applying for the job that you have, you are going to get the same pay. Okay. You are
Yes.
not going to get 60, 70, 80, and close to some people are doubling their salaries because, especially in a time like this, you should try to maximize and optimize your income. You should not be trying to apply for a job or writing your resume in a way that is not going to make you get that job. So I think that is a lot of people's issues. And I just wanted you to come on here a little bit to tell these career folks that, listen, when you're writing your resume, when you're looking for a job, it's not just a mundane thing, but you have to think, and there are a lot of considerations. So how do you feel now? I mean, you did say it at the beginning. You want to round out by telling these people how you feel now about the new job, really? I mean, just a different everything, new you, new Christy for 2022.
It's I wake up every day and pinch myself that I'm actually doing this job. I have fought so long and hard to get here. And yes, Yvonne has seen me cry. She's seen me at my lowest and picked me up and put me where I needed to be. It's just a wonderful feeling to me to not just look, the money is great. I'm not going to lie. The leveling up in the money, the pay was amazing. But for me, it's about um, finding a career home, a place where um, I can be mentored and I can learn and grow and get better and grow my career. So it's not just about, landing the salary, which was of course a big component, but it's also finding that place that fits for you. And I can't be happier. And I know, Yvonne, you noticed my peers on LinkedIn who commented and everything. And I will tell you, one of my peers put up a post on LinkedIn over the weekend, and it really touched my heart because he's going through some things, and he was just outpouring with gratitude to our team for stepping up and taking the burden of work from him so that he could deal with his personal issues. And I just was I just was very proud in that moment because that's my team. That's not just my company, that's the team I'm on. That my leadership made that happen for him. And that's where I'm at right now. And I just couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and you're also leading some projects over there.
Oh, yes, I'm a project manager. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Christy. So that is wonderful. And when we come off LinkedIn and YouTube and all that, I'm going to stay on Wisdom and have a little chat with the folks over there on Wisdom. But I'm so happy for you. And a lot of people don't understand how important is it that you have to own your career to own your life.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
as you say, I've seen a lot of people at their lowest, because it's very hard when you don't have a job, or if you're in a job and it is not serving you.
Yes.
And this might not be the most sexy and popular topic on LinkedIn, but if I were looking for a job, this is a topic I would want to think about, and this is what I would want to listen to. Because when you're alone out there, or when you say I need a job and I get a resume writer to write your resume,
Mhm.
that's not even that's not even 1/100th of what you need to do, because you don't even need to start with your resume. You have to start with me, like it's a power of me, right?
Yeah.
So everybody working on their resume or trying to find a new job, they have to dig deep within themselves. It is the power of me. It is not the resume. The resume doesn't come first. You come first. And as I was gonna go off, great session with great info. Thanks, Christy, for sharing your story.
Yes.
Thanks, Yvonne, for hosting this. Fantastic job. Sean Fontaine, he's a pro side. That means he's a business process analyst. And thanks, Sean, for listening in. And Lily, I know Lily, and I'm going to be talking to Lily this week. So that is wonderful. So I'm going to say thank you, Christy, and thank you for sharing with the LinkedIn family and the Facebook family, the YouTube family, and Wisdom. You don't know about Wisdom Audio, but I'm also on Wisdom. I go on Monday night to mentor whoever want to come up and ask me any questions. It's an audio app like Clubhouse. And I'm going to stay on Wisdom for maybe another half an hour. So I thank you. And if anybody wants to find me, I'm on LinkedIn. My name is Yvonne Robinson Jackson, and I have a website called Goal Inspired Career Coaching. It's called Goal Inspired Career Coaching.com. And my email is Yvonne Robinson at Goal Inspired Career Coaching. So if you want to find me, that's where you would go and find me. But I'm on LinkedIn. You can give me a follow or contact me there. And my website information is down the bottom there, goalinspiredcareercoaching.com. And I am on YouTube, Goal Inspired Career Coaching. If you want some free information and a framework of how to write your resume, you can find me on YouTube, and there's a download. And on my website, there's a lot of goodies. And I was working on my website this week because I learned to do a lot of things on there myself. And I have a blog that you can click on and go and read things. And I'm going to update the blog more so I can have a lot of information for career professionals who are leaders and executives to go and up level, because everybody who I coach are executives. If they were not executives before, they become executives, and that's why I'm so happy. So I am happy to have you today, guys, and I am going to go out now. And I thank you, and thank you, Christy, for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Sean and Lily, as well, for the kind remarks. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Christy.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. So I'm going to end my broadcast